Ever been stuck in, like, a crowded airport, maybe a stadium, and your phone signal just tanks?
Oh, yeah.
Or you're streaming something important, a game maybe, and it just buffers right at the climax.
Happens all the time. It's so frustrating.
We've all been there, right?
Mhm.
Wrestling with patchy wireless. But imagine if those signals could, you know, intelligently adapt, deliver peak performance right where and when you need it.
Well, that's exactly the promise of smart antennas.
And that's what we're diving into today.
Right. We're working from a global smart antenna market report for 2025. The goal here is to really cut through the noise, pull out the key stuff.
Right.
You know, the market size now, where it's heading, growth rates, regional picture, and what's actually driving all this innovation.
So consider this your shortcut.
Exactly. A shortcut to understanding this pretty complex but really important technology.
Perfect. So if you're listening and you want to get up to speed quickly, understand the big picture without wading through pages of data, you are definitely in the right place. We're pulling insights straight from this 2025 report.
Let's do it.
Okay, so smart antennas. The name itself implies something more than just, well, a regular antenna. What makes them smart?
Yeah, good question. Unlike your traditional antenna, which just kind of broadcasts signals in a fixed pattern, smart antennas are much more advanced systems. They can actively, dynamically change how they send and receive signals based on real-time conditions. That adaptability, that's the key difference.
So it's less like shouting in all directions and more like listening and then whispering directly to the device.
That's actually a great way to put it. And they do this using some sophisticated tech, things like beamforming.
Beamforming, right. Heard that.
Yeah, it lets the antenna focus its signal, its energy, into a narrow directed beam pointed right at a specific user or device.
Okay.
Then you have adaptive arrays. That's multiple antenna elements working together, cooperating to shape the signal pattern, optimizing it for whatever environment it's in.
And there was another one?
MIMO, M-I-M-O, stands for multiple input, multiple output. Basically uses multiple antennas at both ends, the transmitter and the receiver. And that drastically increases data capacity and reliability too.
Fascinating stuff. So, okay, what are the real-world benefits? Why should, the average person care about this antenna intelligence?
Oh, the impact is huge. You get dramatically better signal reception.
Meaning fewer dropped calls, smoother streaming.
Exactly. Faster downloads too. Plus, they're really good at cutting down interference. They can actively, cancel out unwanted signals, noise from other devices nearby.
That seems critical, especially now.
Absolutely. And maybe most importantly, given how crowded our airwaves are, they seriously improve spectral efficiency.
Spectral efficiency, letting more devices work in the same limited radio frequencies.
Precisely. Making much better use of that shared finite resource.
That makes total sense. We keep adding more and more connected things. So where are these smart antennas making the biggest difference right now? It's not just about boosting my phone signal at the local coffee shop, is it?
Well, maybe eventually, but right now, the biggest impact is in more, let's say, demanding areas, infrastructure-heavy sectors.
Right.
Telecommunications is a massive one, especially with the global 5G rollout.
5G relies on them heavily.
Absolutely. Those higher frequencies, the need for more bandwidth, they really depend on the precision smart antennas offer. But it's also crucial in defense and aerospace.
Or secure comms.
Secure, interference-resistant communication, yeah. Also, satellite communications tracking satellites accurately. Industrial automation, think reliable wireless control in factories. Healthcare monitoring for transmitting patient data from wearables seamlessly.
Wow.
And even underpinning the communication networks needed for smart cities.
That's a really broad range. The report mentioned the FCC's 2023 spectrum allocation for 5G driving this too. Seems like the more airways we open up, the smarter we need to be about using them.
That's a perfect summary.
Okay, so we know what they are, why they matter, where they're used. Let's talk numbers. The market itself, how big are we talking globally?
Okay, so according to this report, for 2025, the global smart antenna market is estimated at USD 9,760.0 million.
Wow, nearly $10 billion. That's already pretty substantial.
It is indeed.
And where's it going? What's the forecast look like?
Significant growth ahead. The projection is for the market to reach USD 21,074.1 million by 2033.
It more than doubles in, 8 years? That's a really strong trajectory.
It really is.
What kind of annual growth rate does that translate to?
The compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, is projected at 10.0% for that period, 2025 to 2033.
Okay, solid double-digit growth. Impressive. And the report bases this on specific time frames, right? It's not just plucked out of thin air.
Correct. The base year for calculations was 2024. They looked at historical data from 2021 through 2024 to get that 2025 estimate.
And then the forecast runs 2025 to 2033.
Exactly. Gives us a good sense of the recent past and the near-term future.
Got it. So a dynamic market definitely has momentum. Now let's break it down geographically. Which part of the world holds the biggest slice of this pie right now?
In 2025, that would be North America, expected to hold the largest share, over 37%, actually.
Yeah, over a third.
Yeah, translating to a market size of about USD 3,611 million.
Okay, why North America? Is it just the 5G rollout being further ahead there?
That's a big part of it, definitely. But it's also, a history of tech innovation, significant investment in telecom infrastructure over many years.
Makes sense.
Within North America, the U.S. is the giant, estimated at roughly USD 2,849 million in 2025. Its CAGR is projected at 8.7%.
That's strong.
Yep. Canada is projected around USD 433 million, but with a slightly higher CAGR, 9.7%. And Mexico, about USD 329 million with a 9.4% CAGR.
Interesting nuances there.
And the report specifically calls out things like the U.S. military's use of advanced radar systems, which rely on this tech, and Canada's really aggressive 5G deployment across a huge country. Those are specific drivers.
Okay, good context. So North America leads. How about Europe? Where does it stand?
Europe's holding the second spot in 2025, over 29% of the global market.
Okay, pretty significant share too.
Yeah, that's about USD 2,830 million, and the overall projected CAGR for Europe is 8.9% through 2033. So steady, solid growth there as well.
And within Europe, any particular countries really pushing forward?
Oh, definitely. The UK market is estimated around USD 475 million with a strong 9.7% CAGR. Germany is actually even bigger, about USD 560 million, growing at 9.1%.
Wow, Germany's a powerhouse there.
It is. Then you've got France, Italy, Russia, also with significant market sizes. And even smaller nations like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, even Luxembourg show really promising growth rates, 8.5% to over 9%.
That's widespread.
It is. The report highlights the UK's big investments in 5G infrastructure and Germany's really broad use of the technology across different industries as key reasons for their strength.
Okay, Europe's strong, growing steadily. Let's pivot to Asia Pacific. We always hear about rapid tech growth there.
Yeah.
How does APAC stack up in the smart antenna market?
You're right to ask. APAC currently holds about 24% of the market share in 2025.
Okay, third place for now.
Yeah, market size around USD 2,342 million.
Okay.
But here's the kicker, and this is really key.
What's that?
APAC is projected to have the fastest CGR of any region, a really remarkable 13.0% from 2025 to 2033.
13%. Wow. So we should expect a big shift in market share towards APAC.
Absolutely. That's what the data suggests. It highlights massive potential there.
Which countries are leading that charge in APAC?
China is the largest market by far, nearly USD 984 million, with a 12.5% CAGR. Japan's next, around USD 323 million, 11.5% growth. South Korea, USD 281 million, 12.1%.
And India, you mentioned high growth.
India is definitely a standout.
Yeah.
About USD 234 million market size, but the highest projected CGR in the region at 14.9%.
Incredible growth potential.
Yeah. And Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, Southeast Asia collectively all showing really strong double-digit growth trends as well.
What's fueling that incredible APAC growth?
It's a combination of things. Aggressive adoption of new tech, huge infrastructure projects, and especially that rapid 5G deployment we talked about. The report points to India's 5G launch in 2022 and their big national goals for IoT integration as major drivers.
Right, 5G and IoT feeding each other.
Exactly. And South Korea, for instance, is a leader in using smart antennas not just in telecom, but heavily in their automotive sector, industrial IoT, really across their whole tech ecosystem.
Okay, so North America leads now, but keep a very close eye on Asia Pacific. It's poised for some serious growth.
Got it.
What about the other regions? South America.
South America accounts for just over 3.8% of the market in 2025. That's about USD 371 million. The projected CAGR is 10.5%, so still quite healthy growth.
And the key player there.
Brazil is the largest market, about USD 159 million, growing at 11.1%. Then you have Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, all showing solid growth too. The report mentions Brazil's ongoing telecom infrastructure improvements as a positive factor.
Yeah, solid growth in South America. Middle East.
Middle East holds around 4% share in 2025. Market size about USD 390 million, and a similar CAGR forecast, 10.6%.
Who leads there?
Saudi Arabia has the largest market, around USD 137 million, though its growth rate is a bit lower at 8.7%. The UAE is next, about USD 80 million, but with a strong 11.1% EAGR. Other countries like Turkey, Egypt, Qatar contribute too.
Any specific highlights?
The report notes Qatar's big investments in becoming a tech hub and also the growth of telemedicine in Turkey, which obviously needs strong wireless backbones.
Interesting connection. And finally, Africa.
Africa currently holds the smallest share, around 2.2%. That's about USD 215 million in 2025. The projected CAGR is 9.8%.
Still respectable growth.
Yeah. South Africa is the largest market, about USD 75 million, growing at 10.7%. Nigeria follows, though much smaller at around USD 17 million, but with 10% growth. The report mentions increasing government support for communication systems in Nigeria as a potential growth driver.
Okay, that gives us a really comprehensive global map. Now let's dig into the why. What are the main forces really pushing this market forward, the key drivers?
The report points to several big ones. Number one is definitely the accelerating adoption of 5G and also the Internet of Things, IoT.
We touched on this, but how are they driving it specifically?
Well, smart antennas are just crucial for 5G to work as intended. You need them for the higher frequencies, the low latency, the high speeds. And for IoT, think about managing just millions, eventually billions, of connected devices in dense areas. Smart antennas are essential for handling that kind of complexity.
Right, managing the sheer volume.
Remember India's 5G and IoT goals? Perfect example of how these two megatrends are linked and boosting demand for smarter antennas.
Okay, 5G and IoT. What else?
Just the general growth and evolution of wireless networks overall. We're constantly moving, right? From 4G LTE now to 5G, and people are already talking about 6G.
Always the next G.
Exactly. And each step demands more efficient antenna systems. Smart antennas with beamforming, MIMO, all that stuff are critical for maximizing the performance of these next-gen networks. India's even got a Bharat 6G Alliance initiative mentioned. Shows the forward thinking.
So future-proofing networks drives demand. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the third main driver?
Rising investments in defense and aerospace.
Ah, yes, the military applications.
Right. In those fields, you need communication that is super reliable, super secure, and efficient. Smart antennas offer big advantages there. Better signal quality, rejecting interference, enhancing security, very valuable for military and aviation uses.
Okay, so strong drivers. 5G IoT, network evolution, defense aerospace. But it can't all be smooth sailing. Are there roadblocks? Market restraints.
Yes, the report highlights a couple of key challenges. A big one is the high initial cost, both investment and development.
These things aren't cheap.
No, they require pretty sophisticated hardware, multi-element arrays, powerful digital signal processors, complex software for the adaptive beamforming. All that adds up to higher manufacturing costs.
Which could slow down adoption, especially for smaller players.
Exactly. It can be a barrier for smaller businesses or operators who don't have massive budgets.
Okay, high costs. What's the other main restraint?
Complexity. Specifically, complexity in system integration and ensuring compatibility with existing networks.
It's not just plug and play.
Definitely not.
Mm.
Deploying smart antennas often means significant upgrades or changes to the current network infrastructure. Switching from traditional antennas can be complex, time-consuming, needs lots of planning, testing, optimization.
Right, it's the whole system, not just the antenna itself. So cost and complexity are hurdles. Now, looking forward again, what are the major trends shaping this market's future?
One really big trend is the growing demand for satellite communication systems, especially with these new low Earth orbit or LEO constellations.
Like Starlink, Kuiper.
Exactly those. They need really agile, efficient antennas on the ground that can track multiple fast-moving satellites, maintain those high-bandwidth links constantly. Smart antennas are perfect for that.
Makes sense for keeping that connection stable.
Yep. And we're seeing increased adoption in defense and commercial aviation satellite comms, too.
Okay, satellite comms is a big one. What else is trending?
The increasing use of smart antennas in autonomous vehicles.
Self-driving cars, how do they fit in?
Well, autonomous vehicles rely massively on constant high-speed wireless communication for V2V.
Vehicle to vehicle.
Right, and V2I, vehicle to infrastructure, and V2X, vehicle to everything. Smart antennas help make those links robust, reliable. They adjust signals dynamically, minimize interference from other cars or buildings, ensure data gets through efficiently, all critical for safety.
Absolutely critical.
Initiatives like the UK's CCAV, the Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles, and just the general rise of ADA, Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, really underline this growing need for better wireless wireless in cars.
So basically, any tech needing seamless, fast wireless is driving this market. Okay, the report also breaks the market down in different ways. Segmentation. Let's look at the nature outlook. What does that mean?
It categorizes antennas as either conventional or organic.
Conventional versus organic.
Conventional, meaning built with traditional materials and processes, is expected to dominate the market share for now.
Why is that?
Because they're proven effective in today's networks, 4G and 5G, they enhance coverage, cut power use, optimize spectrum with beam-forming stuff networks are using right now.
So they make current systems better. What about organic, then? Sounds interesting.
Organic is flagged as the fastest-growing segment. This uses organic, flexible electronic materials.
Flexible antennas.
Yeah. Think lightweight, bendable, even stretchable electronics. Perfect for things like wearable tech, certain IoT devices where the antenna needs to conform to a shape or flex while still working.
Cool. Wearable tech that stays connected even when you move.
Okay.
How about segmentation by application? Where are they actually being used the most?
Okay. Application-wise, the report says the food and beverage industry currently holds the largest share.
Food and beverage? Really? How
It
good?
sounds surprising, right? But it's mainly for inventory management and logistics, using
Yeah.
tech like RFID and NFC.
Ah, tracking things wirelessly.
Exactly. Real-time tracking of products through the supply chain. Cuts errors, reduces spoilage, makes things more efficient. The report even mentions Gurugram in India using RFID for monitoring waste collection shows the practical uses.
Right, logistics and tracking. Makes sense when you think about the scale. What application area is growing fastest then?
That would be cosmetics and personal care.
Cosmetics. Smart makeup.
Huh. Not quite makeup itself, but smart antennas are being integrated into new skincare tools, wearable wellness devices.
Okay.
These devices talk wirelessly to apps, maybe cloud systems, to monitor skin health, track how a treatment is working, give personalized advice, enhancing the user experience through connectivity.
Smart booty tech. Another fascinating niche. Okay, last segmentation. Distribution channel. How do these antennas get to market? B2B, B2C.
The business-to-business, or B2B segment, has the largest share right now.
Because businesses are building the infrastructure?
Primarily, yes. They need smart antennas to upgrade their wireless infrastructure, improve data transfer speed and reliability, vital for logistics, inventory, customer service, and just manage networks better in crowded places like offices or factories.
Makes sense. And the fastest growing channel.
That's the business-to-consumer, or B2C segment.
So going into our gadgets.
Increasingly, yes. Smartphones, tablets, laptops, smart home IoT devices, they play a key role in giving us that seamless, reliable connection by adjusting signals on the fly. Especially important as our home networks get more complex with tons of devices.
Okay, great breakdown. We know who's buying, who's selling, where they're going. Who are the big companies actually making these things, the competitive landscape?
It's definitely a competitive market. You've got a mix of big global tech names and more specialized players. The report lists companies like Skyworks Solutions, Broadcom, Qualcomm.
Familiar names?
Right. Also, Layered Connectivity, CommScope, Antonova, Catherine, MobileMark, uBlocks, Alps Alpine, companies really strong in wireless components and systems.
Any recent moves or announcements from these players that the report highlights? Anything noteworthy?
Yeah, it points to a few things. Qualcomm launched its Snapdragon X75 5G modem late last year, November 2023, designed to support more advanced smart antenna tech.
Pushing performance.
Exactly. Huawei partnered with China Mobile in September 2023 to develop specific smart antenna solutions for dense cities. And Samsung launched a new line of 5G smart antennas back in July 2023, focused on boosting signal and cutting interference.
So lots of active development.
Definitely. The key players are constantly innovating, pushing connectivity and network performance forward.
Okay, so just to circle back and summarize that regional picture. North America holds the crown currently, but Asia-Pacific is the one to watch for rapid future growth.
That's the main takeaway on regions, yes. North America got the early lead thanks to fast 5G deployment and existing tech infrastructure. But APAC shows the highest projected CAGR, driven by massive tech advancements, infrastructure spending, and just widespread accelerating 5G adoption there.
Got it. Well, this has been a really fantastic deep dive into the smart antenna market. We've covered quite a bit of ground.
We certainly have.
From what makes them smart to the market size nearly $10 billion in 2025, heading over $21 billion by 2033. That's strong 10% growth rate.
The regional dynamics, North America leading, APAC surging.
Right. The key drivers like 5G, IoT, network evolution, defense, the hurdles of cost and complexity.
And those interesting trends in satellites and autonomous vehicles.
Exactly. It's clear smart antennas are becoming, well, fundamental to our connected lives. So for you listening, hopefully you now feel you've got a solid grasp on this dynamic market, all thanks to the insights from this 2025 report.
Absolutely. And maybe that leads us to a final thought, something to chew on. Given how much we rely on wireless data and knowing that we're already looking beyond 5G towards 6G,
Yeah.
what totally new innovations in antenna tech might be coming beyond smart antennas? What breakthroughs could further revolutionize industries and maybe even our daily lives in ways we haven't even considered yet? That's a great question. Makes you wonder.
Maybe it's worth keeping an eye on the R&D from those companies we mentioned and just tracking the ongoing evolution of wireless tech in general. The future is definitely going to be interesting.